So right now it is just recording.
And when I see Facebook is live, then that's when I can start.
Yep, it'll be in your left-hand corner. I'll hit it in about 5 seconds. Takes about 3 seconds after I hit it. Okay, I am gonna hit it now.
Welcome to the 11 Days of Global Unity Summit and to our special event today. My name is Jana Larson, and I am coordinator of the Economic Justice Campaign for We the World, as well as many other things for We the World. Today, I'm excited that we will be joined by Dot, Shelley, Danalia, and Jan, who will be talking about the theme of human rights. For the full 11-day summit schedule, to see the recordings and to register for free, go to 11daysofglobalunity.org or go to we.net. Rick Ulfik is the founder of We the World at we.net and the co-creator of 11 Days of Global Unity. Rick can't be here today for health reasons. However, he sends his love and best wishes. 11 Days of Global Unity goes from the anniversary of the tragedy of September 11th to September 21st, the celebration of the International Day of Peace, commemorating our collective journey from fear to hope. To take action with the 11 campaigns for change, Trends Magazine with editor Robert Levine, and all the work of We the World, go to we.net. And now it is my pleasure to welcome our special event guests. Take it away, Dr. Dot.
Thank you, Jana. Oh, what a joy to be here with 11 Days of Global Unity, as today we focus on human security and that everyone has the right to healthy water. So I'm Dot Maver with Global Silent Minute. I'm here with Shelley Ostroff, Codes for a Healthy Earth, Eco-Governance, and the World Water Law. As we team today from Peace Week 2022, our fireside chat. And we are teaming with 11 Days of Global Unity. So I wonder, Callum, can we spotlight Shelley also? That would be great. So Shelley and I will chat for a bit, and then we will welcome Danalia Castell, founder of the Listening Field, who will share from our nature elders, and Jan Golding, co-founder of Eco-Governance, who will offer solutions for healthy water, which we perceive is a key to human security. And again, everyone has the right to healthy water. We also want to give a loving shout out to our dear brother, Rick. And Jana, thank you so much for all that you are doing for all these presentations. And we send our love and blessings to Rick. So Shelley, we have been on this 99-day journey of peace through unity towards a thriving world for all of life. I mean, all of us, 11 days and Unity Earth and Sign, and just so many of us. And we've been asking the question, what does it mean to self-organize towards a thriving world for all of life? And the themes of Peace Week, which, as we know, is happening right now, wrapped around the International Day of Peace on the 21st. The themes are the core needs, which offer a direct and practical pathway to peace, and in fact, hold such a key to this living systems and our human security. Yes?
Yeah, absolutely. It feels foundational. That's part of the initiative, is to create this compass, this unifying compass that we can all align with, that transcends all divisions and all conflicts and all our so-called differences, that unites us at such a fundamental level around that which is essential and beneficial to all of life. Because it seems that in our fragmented society today, which with the distractions and that have come from this mindset of separateness and domination and privilege, and we've become very much isolated and very very self-absorbed in survival mode and in power over rather than power with. And the core needs are offered as the second primary task of eco-governance. Eco-governance is a framework for an innovative way of organizing ourselves as a species for the benefit of all of life. And the second primary task of eco-governance is to ensure that the core needs of all humans and animals are met. And maybe Jan can prepare the visual of those core needs, and we can take a look at how these help us to focus our attention on that which is truly nourishing to life, and realign us with the compass of our hearts and that which is most natural and instinctive to all of us.
Yeah, beautiful. As Jan is pulling up the core needs slide, Joanna Macy, who's familiar to all of us, has said, if the world is to be healed through human efforts, I am convinced it will be by ordinary people, people whose love for this life is even greater than their fear, people who can open to the web of life that called us into being. So as we take this whole systems approach, Shelley, a deep bow to Joanna Macy as well. So yes, let's place these in the field.
So this is the second primary task of eco-governance, which is all of us. It's not a governance outside of us, but recognizing that we are all part of this regulating system of the human species, which impacts our entire world. The second primary task of eco-governance is to ensure that all humans and animals have guaranteed access to living soil, healthy water, vitalizing food, fresh, clean air, physical and emotional safety, comfortable shelter, and the conditions needed to manifest our unique life-enriching potential. So imagine a world where these core needs of all are met and we all participate in ensuring that all of us have these conditions, and where a world in which the concept of human security separate from life is almost a piece of the past.
Yeah, beautiful. So, as we look at this, we can't separate out anything. And yet, I will say that this morning, during the Peace Week plenary, which was focused on healthy water, really did speak to water as the key to human security, as it has to do with every one of these core needs. Because peace is actually not possible if we're not in right relationship with water, and peace can be defined as living in right relationship with self, others, and all of life. So that spoke to me this morning, Shelley.
Yeah, it was an extraordinarily powerful session, because I think one of the central messages, there were many, was that humanity has forgotten how to relate to water as life and as a living being. Yeah. And that this is ancient indigenous wisdom, and that it is an awakening of many around the world who are awakening to this extraordinary consciousness of water as a living being. And, my sense is that water is a direct path to human security, because if water is the source and the sustenance and the medicine of all life, we are over 99% on a molecular level water. And water is conscious. And water has pristine water as nature intended, as nature knows, has a very, very extraordinary intelligence, a life intelligence, a nourishing intelligence, an intelligence that has been through all of us and all of life. And you can imagine this vast one water body that is informing all of life and holds all of life in a drop of water, and just the life cycle of one drop of water. And that intelligence that we may not be aware of because we are very limited by our very concrete human prism, I would say, that we've been conditioned to limit ourselves to look at life in very, very limited ways. I mean, we've been taught to think about water as H2O.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of, what a way of distancing ourselves and of separating ourselves from water that is who we are, and that is, I would say, very close to what we experience to be that source of all life.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. And as that sinks in for us, you know, I'm mindful that all over the planet for a couple of decades now, the question has been asked, is peace a human right?
Mm.
And when we look at peace as this living in right relationship, and we tie this now to the core needs, these identified 7 core needs, and we say, yes, every core need is a right of humans, animals, ecosystems, right? That really is the key to our human security. And my heart was so touched so many times in the plenary. And I have to say, when Bernd said, the secret of life and the key to understanding is that water is a living being, which is what you say all the time. And when Auntie Anne said, fall in love with water.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like I melted, you know? So,
Mm.
yeah, so there's something about both human security and the right to guaranteed access of water and all of the core needs that really speaks to us. And we are not living in that way as a social system or as a living system on the planet right now.
Absolutely. And, you know, I would even say the word right to me is also an expression of our colonialist system that actually is a system of domination that takes away rights. It, you know, who gave us the right to give rights and take away rights? It's a very foreign concept to nature. So, you know, we're working with very fragmented concepts, even like security, human security, as separate from the well-being of the whole. So all of these concepts perpetuate a way of thinking about things that in turn perpetuates the system of control and domination. And human security has become a commodity, like so many other things. And so there's a whole industry that is dependent on humans living in fear and threat. And that creates the threat, that creates the, the antidote temporarily, or so-called antidote. So we've got a whole security industry, a military-industrial complex that has more weapons than we need to, for anything. We don't need weapons, but we've begun to believe that that is what our security depends on. And yet every part of our being is infused with a language of violation. And when it comes to water, the language of life is a language of health. It's a language of vitality. It doesn't talk about rights. It talks, for me, I think the closest it is about mutual nourishment. Because the language of life, it's all about ensuring that all parts of the whole receive precisely what they need to manifest their unique potential in mutual nourishment with the whole. And that's what the 7 core needs are about, because when those are met, as nature knows how to do, as our body knows how to do, as the ecosystems know how to do, then we are thriving. And human security is just a natural expression of a healthy environment where there is no oppression.
Beautiful.
And then when you think about, so where does it all start? When we think about the violation of water, when we think about our relationship of water, which says we can own water, we can pollute water, we can interfere with water's flow. What we are doing to water outside, we're doing to ourselves as water, because we are part of this one water body. And our disconnect from, and our degradation and our violation of Mother Water at source creates this domino effect which impacts human security, whether it's safety, whether it's health, whether it's every aspect, poverty, drought, it ripples through every aspect of our life. So when we violate water at source, we are basically undermining any possibility of security in any aspect of our life. And when we start to organize around water and to ensure that we have not only safe drinking water, which is a false scientific term that says it's okay to have this amount of toxins, not that amount of toxins, but when we talk about uncompromisingly looking after our planetary waters and restoring the water cycle and ensuring all humans and animals have guaranteed access and being really accountable for our water, then suddenly we activate this entire healing. We catalyze healing in all aspects, because as soon as we create accountability and awareness, like relearn what it means, what the ancients have always told us, what the water protectors have risked their lives for, that water is life. And when we violate water, we are violating life, we're violating ourselves, and we are violating future generations. It's so, yeah.
I'm going to invite us to take a breath and take that in, because what you are saying after the breath, is that we actually face a distinct opportunity of making violence history.
Yeah.
And at the heart of this whole systems approach to whole systems healing, as we focus in this moment on healthy water, I mean, what is the definition of health? And I'll submit it's a free flow of spirit through form. So to hold sacred and to recognize as sustenance and medicine, if you will, for all of us, imagine, I mean, we'll be activating a whole systems healing response with healthy water.
Absolutely. I mean, you say free flow of spirit, and that's the language of water, isn't it?
Yeah.
A free flow.
Yeah.
And so when we, we're working in so many different ways in a very symptomatic, technocratic, profit-driven approach to solutions, which is, as I said, perpetuating the concept that it is all fragmented and siloed off. But when you start with water, when we really honor water at source, and when we bring water at the center of our governance, a water-centered, life-centered governance system, then everything changes. Our education, our agriculture, our health system. When we think about, if we're someone, I think that people have said that 99% or more of our health problems are water related.
Wow. Yeah. I can
And
believe
it makes sense.
Yeah, I can
It
believe
makes
that.
absolute sense.
Yeah. So as you're saying this, we're taking this focus during Peace Week on as solutionaries, right? And I love how you talk about that, like solutions. It's a big picture solution that needs to happen. Because human security is not separate from our whole systems living. I mean, it just isn't. And we tend to keep separating out everything, as you have reminded us. So today, as we focus on water, and water as a key at the heart, perhaps, of human security, you have developed a law, a world water law. You have offered this during World Unity Week in 2019 or 2020, I believe. And which is really kind of profound to think about. If we can activate the social will, which will in turn activate the political will on this planet as we the people, right? We the world, then we can take this whole systems approach. Do you want to talk a little bit about the World Water Law?
Yeah. I a few years ago, I had a very powerful vision where I had the privilege of communing deeply with water. And, I think as Burns said today, when that activation happens, you can't see the world in the same way again. And it's available, it's accessible to all of us, and more people are becoming, having that experience of really learning to just spend time talking to water, and water responds. We know from Emoto and from Beda Austin and others who are crystallographers who show water responds to thought. So when we actually spend time with water and ask to just be in heartful connection and to be in communion, she responds. So I had a very powerful vision a few years ago where I saw water as the unifying force of our time. As the medicine, I saw people around the world just rising for water together, because I realized afterwards, we're not going to change the system law by law or country by country. The entire system is designed to perpetuate the status quo of power over and the colonialism and the benefit of a few. This is a time where each and every one of us need to rise and say, how do we take responsibility for the world that we are co-creating? And suddenly water showed how to do that. Because if we're going to find that most unifying issue, I don't want to call her an issue, that most unifying essence that we can connect around, I believe it would be water, that we can all say, yes, we all understand that we all need water. And for me to have water, everyone needs to have water, and all beings need to have water, because water doesn't have privilege or prejudice. So we all have to understand that there is one water body, and rather than thinking this water is ours because it's local, how are we accountable for that water on behalf of the whole? It's a shift. It's a whole shift from this concept of ownership to a concept of this is our gift to look after this water on behalf of the entire living body of which we are part. And as a continuation of that, it became clear that what was being asked was for a proposal for a world water law, which unifies humanity around 4 simple principles. And Jan and I articulated something, we shared it with many people, and the result can be shown in this little video, which has the 4 simple principles I mentioned earlier in a distilled way. If Jan can show the video.
Let's watch that now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We are water.
We, citizens of Earth, call for and commit to working together for the immediate and universal protection of all water.
As the first vital step towards global cooperation for effective worldwide social and ecological healing.
The World Water Law requires the uncompromising protection and restoration of all natural water sources, watersheds, aquifers, lakes, wetlands, estuaries, and oceans.
The rewilding of ecosystems necessary for the restoration of the planetary water cycle.
The guaranteed free access of all humans and animals to the natural uncontaminated water.
The World Water Law holds all governments, corporations, communities, and individuals fully accountable for their impact on all waters everywhere.
This one law serves as a unifying foundation for all governments and citizens to work together with community-led wisdom and stewardship councils in ways that effectively serve the health and vitality of the whole.
The World Water Law provides an essential foundation for aligning human laws with the original laws of nature.
This global initiative honors the many water guardians around the world
who have dedicated their lives to the protection and reverence of water on behalf of all life.
Join the Global Alliance for a World Water Law.
And add your voice to make the World Water Law a global reality. Together, we rise for water.
Together, we rise for all of life.
We rise together with the tide. Water's law now must preside. We are water.
Oh, Shelley, beautiful. It touches our hearts. May it awaken us to conscious and intentional action so that we act, ACT, all cooperating timelessly. And it seems that accountability is really a key here. Before we invite Danilia to share with us, do you want to speak to accountability? I've heard you talk about that many times.
So much of the devastation that we're seeing today, this trauma vortex that we're in, is enabled by lack of accountability and secrecy. And so just each of these principles are activations for whole system transformation, because as soon as we step up to holding ourselves and each other accountable for our impact on all water everywhere, nothing can stay the same. This one simple intervention, if it is global and coordinated to the extent that it can be, but we put the homeopathic drop of accountability into the system, no system can stay the same. None of the industries can persist, because no one has any right to violate anyone, the water. And so when we actually hold people accountable for their impact on water, when we understand and reveal what's happening to the water, and we're seeing the immense pollution, the commodification, the damming, the ownership, just what's happening to water, and the impact, and the billions of people and species that do not have access at all to water, or to clean drinking water, or to any water at all. Holding people accountable for this is essential. So my dream, my vision, my invitation is for each and every one of us just to imagine how we could bring this world water law into a reality in the nearest possible future. And there is a global alliance for a world water law, but this isn't a centralized concept. This is about each and everyone taking their part and doing it in whatever local or global way, using whatever power we have, whatever authority we have, whatever networks we have, to bring this idea into the whole. And what a huge contribution this will be to not only human security, but to the health and vitality and the healing of all of life.
All of life. Yeah, humans, animals, ecosystems. Oh, just beautiful. Yeah, so I know it's in the chat. Jan, maybe you want to put it in the chat again, where people can get more information. And if you go to codes.earth, you will find information about all of this. Thank you, Shelley and Jan, just so beautiful. Yeah, so this accountability, we're in the midst of this all systems breakdown. You're offering really a living systems, whole systems approach to the breakthrough, and all systems breakthrough.
So just one more piece I want to put in before we invite Danilia in is water provides to all, without privilege, without prejudice, in very precise, nourishing ways. And there's so much to learn from water about how to do that. When we mimic water, when we become as water, our economy shifts completely. There is no concept of ownership. There is concept of vitalizing flow. And so this is an invitation as we rebirth ourselves as humanity at this time and, integrate our understanding of ourselves as an interconnected living system to how we organize ourselves as a species. When we do it by learning from water, we can very quickly transform all of our systems so that all beings have all their needs met in a relatively short amount of time, and massive exponential healing on all fronts: social, emotional, cultural,
Beautiful.
and ecological, of course.
And ecological, beautiful. Yeah, and it's really landing once again in my heart. It really does begin with me, and I am part of the whole. So that's, beautiful.
Mm.
So shall we invite Danalia, founder of the Listening Field, to join us? Hi, Danalia.
Hola, ¿cómo está? I want to just introduce people to who is behind me. Speaking of relationships with water, I've been building family relationships with bodies of water around the world for the past 14 years. They're responsible for the human being I am today. That's what I can say. They really showed me how to be in right relationship with everything. But behind me, I want to just acknowledge is Mother Pacific Ocean. I live here on the unceded territory of the Quatsino Nation. And so behind me is Mother Ocean. She comes in from the wild west coast of British Columbia, Canada. And she's very calm here, which is also very influential, helping to keep me calm as well. So I'm very, very happy to be here. And I wanted to just respond to your question, Shelley, when you were saying, thinking about the World Water Law and how we could bring this into being. And I wanted to remind us that we don't need to do this alone. Mm-hmm. Yes, we have human brothers and sisters who share our love and share these values that we have and share the reverence we have for our sacred water relatives. But we also have the local rivers and the lakes where we live. So we can go to them, introduce yourself, share your heart, tell them what you are proposing to do, and ask that river or that lake to partner with you in this quest. Mm-hmm. And of course, we always need to pause and breathe and wait for the water relative to respond, right? To say yes. If they don't respond at all, sometimes they're away, their consciousness is pulled back a bit, and you need to build that relationship up a little more. Sometimes they don't respond because it's not their job. So you might try a pond or a stream or a waterfall or a lake. Go to other waters in the area. But I just really invite you to know that these water elders are tremendous partners for us to co-create this new world that we need. And we can ask them questions. We can share the challenges that we have trying to make this World Water Law come into effect. And they literally can walk with us and guide us and love us as we bring our society back into right relationship, a loving relationship with all of life. If I can share one more thing that water taught me, this was the very, very first year. So every year I was sent on a pilgrimage with a different body of water. Each of them has a different spirit, different character, a different voice. But the very first pilgrimage that I went on, first of all, Hot Springs gave me a healing mantra. It's called A Call to Honor and Forgive. It's on my Thank You Water CD. I really needed to first learn how to forgive. And this water gave me this melody to sing to help me do that. And then the second thing was it guided me into Alaska to the Chilkat River. And beside that river, I met 3 different men of all different cultures, as well as ages and generations. And the 4 of us made family, and then they were already heart bonded with the Chilkat River. And I learned that water truly is love. It's love. And it helped me remember that I am loved too. So you'll see in the memes that I'm about to share with you that this message has come through some of the water elders and the humans that were heart bonded with them when they received them. So the listening field is something that I discovered with my nature elders during the June of 2020. So there's many things that gave birth during that time. And we discovered it because we could no longer meet together in person. And so we discovered that based on the relationships that we had built with each other, we could meet together in a ceremonial way and still communicate heart to heart. And then, of course, I found out that we can all do this. So we've been hosting listening fields. We did them once each week with a different core need. So what I'm going to share with you is just 4 memes. They're messages put on images that were received by different people who were in the listening field. And then they invited in their nature elders. Sometimes they were water, sometimes they weren't. And then we all asked this group question: how can we organize ourselves in order to guarantee that each human and each animal has access to you, healthy water? And how can we ensure your thrival? So this is the first one that I'm sharing today. So water said, "You are how water stands up. You are the way water walks around. Let the waters within you lead. Listen for the pattern." This one reminds me of when the first time I read the World Water Law. I heard this voice inside of me. I'm an embodiment artist, so that maybe explain a little why. But I heard, what if the World Water Law walks around in us? And so then I was guided to create this process in which we actually go inside the water of our own body and have a dialogue there about a world that's built on water ethics. Disruptions are needed to instill reverence for all of nature. When given proper consideration, disruptions produce timely and appropriate actions. This is one that can be difficult to appreciate if it's my home that has been washed away. And I believe the many invitations that we've been receiving on our planet through a recent virus and other things are truly meant to be pattern interrupts so that we don't go back to what was before, because it wasn't working. And if it was for a tiny, tiny percentage of life on Mother Earth. But not for the rest of us, and certainly not for our nature relatives and elders. So just really taking that in, appreciating that when some obstacle comes in the way for us, that rather than focusing on that obstacle, I'm now choosing to see it as a reason to pause and to reflect on all that's happening, because we know that everything is connected with everything and everyone with everyone. So thank you to Linda DeHart. She's the one who received this one. Maya Shaw Gale received this one. Love this one. Singing with water is one of the main ways that I give back to water. It's also another way to open a listening field is to sing, with words or without. So singing in the shower blesses your body, blesses the sacred water that cleanses you, and blesses everyone that water touches after you. Again, remembering when they say that all of the water that is here on Mother Earth has been here since the beginning. So when we're showering, the water that is coming over us, it is literally the same water that our ancestors encountered, that the dinosaurs encountered, and the people across the world from us are connected. So remembering that sacred unity that is in every single drop. And that when we sing, we amplify the love, we amplify the energy. And then as it flows onto its next place of being, your blessing goes with it. So this was an answer to the question, how can we ensure your thrival? And this is beautiful Everine de Kratz, who is managing the community platform for the Global Water Alliance. Give me space, let me flow, sing, dance, play with me, respect me, honor me, be grateful for me, map me, call me, be my name, call me by my name, resonate with me, spend time with me, flow with me, float with me, connect with me, give me space, let me flow, sing, dance. Just felt really guided to let this be a stream, a never-ending stream of connection, of love, of conversation, of voice, of presence, of silence. One of the things our nature elders, especially our water elders, appreciate is us coming to just sit with them. Just be. Breathe and feel and be. And in that heart-connected place, there's that beautiful free flow of love between you, as well as their consciousness recalibrates ours, reminds us of who we are. We are water relatives on a water planet. The last thing I want to just share with you is that in 2018, my telepathy with water was turned down. I could no longer hear water. I wondered what was going on. All it was an invitation for me to go inside the waters of my own body, and I realized that I wasn't loving myself. And so what I realized is that if I went into the waters of my own body and I reached out and connected to the water in another human being's body, I could only feel love. And so I tested that. I did that with the former president of the United States. And I realized I could only feel love. So in terms of peace with each other, relating from the water in ourselves to the water in someone else is another way that we can embody peace. Regardless of who their personality is or the nefarious deeds they might have done.
Beautiful.
Water to water, there is only love.
Water to water, there is only love. Beautiful. Oh, thank you, Danalia.
The first part of that,
as we welcome Jan now to offer our final section of this webinar in 11 days of global unity, merging with Peace Week and our fireside chat. Jan, please join us and offer us from your heart this solutions-oriented approach to water, healthy water.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dot. So wonderful to be here and have this opportunity. I'm going to dive right in with some slides that I prepared. Here we go. Let's see. And so, Whole system solutions for healthy water. Wow, there's such an abundance of solutions out there, and how come they're not finding their fullest expression? So how can we organize to ensure that all humans and animals have guaranteed access to healthy water? And a big part of that is really becoming aware of the many solutions, understanding the fundamental challenges, the systemic challenges. And so just to kind of give a little bit of context for those who are here for the first time, as I said yesterday, these 7 core needs, they're very, very interconnected. And many of the solutions, because we're talking about whole system solutions, address multiple of these needs simultaneously. And that is especially the case with living soil, healthy water, vitalizing food, and fresh, clean air. So those of you who were with us yesterday will find some similarities. And I thought to begin with a study that was done, I think it was just after 2000, so it has a little bit of date on it, but I think it's still pretty relevant. It says here we're talking about ensuring healthy water for all humans in this case. It is not a question of cost, but of priority. Bringing water and sanitation to all would cost $10 billion a year. That's about the same as Europe spends on ice cream in the year. And that was a study that was commissioned by the UN. So in terms of, as you were speaking about the military-industrial complex, that's about 0.52% of the annual military expenditures and about 0.77% of the annual income of the pharmaceutical industry. So I think that really helps to put things in perspective that, even with the current solutions that, many of these organizations are aware of, which are still often very disconnected from the grassroots solutions, we could probably do it for much cheaper than that and much faster. So, access to water reality check. Today, more than 2.1 billion, that's 30% of all people, do not have access to safe drinking water. And globally, water pollution accounts for 80% of all infectious and deadly diseases. All deaths in the global south, 80% of those are attributed to waterborne diseases. So here we can see how water would really, ensuring clean water to all would have such a radical effect on so many people's lives. And here are some of the primary threats to water, similar as to living soil in many ways. Industrial agriculture, animal factory farms, dams, mining, plastic pollution, water contamination and fluoridation, commodification, water bottling, aquifer depletion, water scarcity, fossil fuel extraction, radiation contamination, oil leak spills, pharmaceutical contamination, and electromagnetic radiation. We won't go too deeply into those because we're going to focus on solutions, but when we start to kind of get a sense of, and there are many more, in terms of the pollution aspect, but let's move into solutions. So when we talk about solutions for ensuring that all humans and animals have access to water, it's really about how do we create water retention landscapes. As we saw yesterday with the living soil, much of the soil through deforestation and modern agriculture has become very compacted. It's lost its ability to absorb water. So all the water, very often the heavy rains, and there are many reasons why rains are becoming more and more intense, also because of those large urban areas where no water is allowed to sink in, and instead they're radiating heat up into the sky that doesn't allow the natural flow of clouds to come inland. So all these clouds accumulate at the shoreline, and then they come in once they've built up and offer these torrential rains. And so through these different, the ways that we have designed cities in terms of there's hardly any water infiltration, all the water just runs off back into the ocean, taking all the rubbish with it. And through the agriculture, the soils have become so dense and compact that as soon as the rain comes, it just erodes a lot of the topsoil. And topsoil loss is one of our biggest threats that most people aren't aware of at all. So how can we create water retention landscapes? How can we redesign our landscapes in ways that they hold water? And there are beautiful systems and examples for that. And I'll be sharing a document with many links that you can follow to explore some inspiring documentaries and short films that show how through sculpting the land and creating these swales, these ponds, these little dams that can really hold the water and allow the water to infiltrate the earth, how quickly that can regenerate the land, how they've turned deserts, literally deserts, into oases in a matter of years through proper water retention landscapes. And so another very important aspect is regenerative water-friendly agriculture. When we think that, I think 70% of all our water consumption is through industry. Industry that is for 99% toxic and polluting to the environment. And 20% of the water consumption goes into industrial agriculture in ways that is used. It's very inefficient how industrial agriculture uses our water. So there are new types of agricultural systems that are very, very water efficient, and at the same time ensure that there's forest cover, there's ground cover, so the soil gets to rehabilitate, so that allows for more water to infiltrate and replenish the aquifers at the same time. Another important aspect, whole system solution, is reforestation, of course. We know that trees, as soon as trees are introduced into a landscape and they get a chance to establish, it completely transforms the soil, as I said, and really allows for infiltration to happen, creating microbiomes for flora and fauna to proliferate. And another important solution is the water harvesting. How can we harvest the water? As I was saying earlier, in the cities, you know, so much of the water from the roads, from the roofs, just runs off into the gutters. And there are so many ways in which we can redirect those water runoffs into little swales, into community gardens, into urban and suburban food forests, and even into our own tanks in our personal houses, where we can use that water. If it's relatively clean, we can even bathe with it. Some countries you can still drink the rainwater. If nothing else, you can flush your toilet with it. So there's so many ways. Harvesting, learning to harvest water is such an important solution. And then there's permaculture design, and I mentioned this yesterday as well. Permaculture design is a design science that is a way of designing human settlements to integrate, and human systems that, you know, that really empower us to meet especially these core needs at a local bioregional level in ways that really integrate harmoniously into the natural environment. And permaculture systems, the first thing about permaculture design, when you move onto a piece of land, is you look at how the water flows. What are the water patterns? What are the water cycles doing? And you design, the entire design of the land is according to those water flows and how to maximize water infiltration and catching as much water as we can, as high up as possible, so we can gravity feed our crops below. And then, of course, there's the World Water Law as a whole system solution that really, you know, that's a systemic solution that allows all of these other solutions to really find their fullest manifestation in the shortest possible time. So when we unite and align around the World Water Law, as Shelley said, that is so self-evident in many ways, these 4 simple principles, all of these solutions can be implemented very, very quickly, and at the same time, all of these threats will be eliminated very, very quickly as well. And so in terms of what can we do as individuals, and as I said yesterday, one of the important aspects is self-educate. How can I minimize my water footprint? How can I ensure that I have access, that my community has access to the purest possible water? And there are many, many ways to do that. And as I said, I'll be sharing a document around that. So harvesting your rainwater, again, eating local, organic, plant-based foods is very helpful for the water supply. And of course, something that we often overlook are the products that we use, the cleaning products, the cosmetic products, all of the things that we flush down the drain. There's one thing, if you would put it in the water, only put that in the water that you would actually consume, that you would either eat or drink yourself. So, I mean, obviously we don't want to eat soap that much, but these natural soaps you could eat and you wouldn't be sick. So it's not like these toxic products, these toxic cleaning products, these toxic cosmetics that are really damaging the water. And then there's all these synthetic clothes and the microbeads, and the water is getting so much contamination at the nanoparticle level that it's really important that we educate ourselves on how to use natural and biodegradable products. And a big part of that is also learning to live a zero-waste lifestyle. Minimizing our plastic use is a huge step towards that. And then, of course, you can start a local community watershed stewardship circle. And there's information about that in the document as well, where local people start to come together and start to, just as was described, really start to commune with their water, start to understand where their water source is coming from, and really start to look after it as a community. And so finally, as a whole system solution, we're talking about all these several core needs as a whole. How can we work together as humanity to really focus on that which is essential and nourishing to all of life? And how can we all ensure that the core needs of all humans and animals are met in the shortest possible time, knowing that we already have everything we need to make it so? It's really a question of how do we organize. So you're invited to come to ecogovernance.earth to explore that question further, where we're starting to organize and connect and moving into action. So thank you for listening. That was a whirlwind tour, but
Oh, bless you, Jan. Thank you so much. And yeah, as we thank Jana and welcome Jana back into the spotlight. Oh, thank you, Jana, for making this possible.
Well, thank you. And this has really been fascinating and very in-depth. I'm reminded as the coordinator for the Economic Justice Campaign for We the World, I'm working with people in Africa. We have a volunteer in Pakistan, and in so many places where water is just so necessary, and it's so hard for them to get the water. Even here in Ohio, I live near Cleveland, and I work with the Poor People's Campaign. I'm on the coordinating committee. There's the word for Northeast Ohio. And one of our people that I work with in cooperation with We the World, as we reach out to collaborate with other organizations, is the prevalence of lead pipes in Cleveland, and in all the marginalized communities in our area, being from the big cities and the poorer areas. And to this day, there's still a problem. And her daughter was very affected by having ingested the water that came through the lead pipes, and it's still a big problem in Flint, Michigan. Of course, there's problems. And just last week, Reverend Barber was down in Jacksonville, Mississippi, where they're having such a water problem. It's when you don't have access to water, you really realize how much you need water and good water. So thank you all for all your work with this. Does anyone have anything that they would like to say about anything here with Peace Week, anything other events coming up that you would like to bring up besides what you've already brought up?
Well, we're going to invite Shelley to make a final comment, but yes, we would like to invite everyone to continue with 11 Days of Global Unity right through the International Day of Peace on the 21st, and also to visit peaceweek.org, where we have an entire listing of all the events. We have plenaries each day at 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. New York time, EDT, and so many events.
And that goes to the 24th, am I correct?
This goes through to the 24th, that is correct, and that will be the final celebratory day. And who knows what after that, Yana, we'll see.
Yeah.
What is emerging for all of us on this beautiful planet we all call home.
And we've been doing this, I mean, it started with World Unity Week, which is in June. And then we had the time in between.
99 days.
99 Days of Peace. And we've been getting together on Wednesday nights and lots and lots of change. Yes, social movement activists. It's really been inspiring. And if you know, if for some reason you can still find a reason to think that no one's doing anything and you know everyone is depressed, well, that's just not true.
No, it's quite the opposite at this moment on the planet, and it's going to take all of us working together. Yeah, to create the world
and
that
you
works
know
for
what?
everyone.
We don't have to have initials after our name or, you know, have fancy degrees or be connected to the richest people. It starts with us, starts with one, and when we join together, we can make a change. Shelley, you would like to make a comment?
Just deep gratitude for the opportunity to share in this way. And to bring water at the center of our attention of this Peace Week, of all of this activism. And it's all, you know, it's all complementary. We're all doing our parts. And yet there is also those aspects that can amplify the parts that we're doing. So if we're all ultimately invested in a thriving world for all of life, and we are all dependent on water and on the other core, you know, we all share the same core needs. So one of the invitations is to say, how can we all organize in a way that is supported by a collective voice around one or two essential aspects that we know that will benefit all. And if we can all just say yes to water and bring our voice in addition to what we're doing to say yes to the World Water Law, or yes to holding each other accountable for water and creating a global one voice around that which unifies us all, I feel we can all be so much stronger. So that invitation is, you know, there's so much, as you say, amazing things happening here, so many extraordinary people. And now there is an opportunity to truly unify around a collective compass. And with that unity, I think we can all be so much stronger. And just given that we're speaking about water today, when we hold water in our hearts and when we restore water, we eliminate poverty, we create health, gender equality, all of the different aspects are actually healed when we heal the water. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity to just really bring that with love here, and so inspired by the field that is being created by all of us.
Thank you. And I just saw Ben Bowler pop up here. I don't know if he has a comment to make, or that's just to surprise me.
Yes, well, Ben Bowler has been with us today, and if he may have had to jump into another event, but if he is still here, he's more than welcome. Yes, to make a comment.
So,
So thank you again, Jana, for
Mm.
inviting us and for being such a beautiful demonstration of
Mm.
inspiring cooperation on behalf of the common good.
well, it is truly an honor to be among all of you and to meet you. And I hope we will get to know each other better and continue to work together for our mutual needs and our benefit and our happiness to create a better world. So here's the part where we all hold up our three fingers, and it's not the Girl Scout promise. I promise. Anyway, this is where we go from a we society. No, we go from a me society to a we society. I got that backwards. To create a world that works for all. Thank you so much for being here today. Go in peace and safety. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jana.